It is August 1st. This is your stimulus check and $600 unemployment update for the day. I hope you all are having a good weekend. So what's going on? Basically, not great news today. First off, though, we have a group of 50 politicians are saying that we're getting closer to a deal for the next stimulus package, which is good, right? The leaders of the Democrats are meeting today with the White House negotiating team in order to progress on actually making the next stimulus pack happen, right? Which sounds good. However, we'll get to some news later that might not be the greatest in regards to this. So, in attendance for this meeting will include Nancy Pelosi as well as Chuck Schumer. The White House negotiators on the other side will include Steve Mnuchin and Chief of Staff Mark Meadows. The White House negotiators are kind of acting as the bridge between the Democrats and the Republicans, trying to smooth everything over, kind of make it a little bit of a better process for everyone, right? So a caucus of 50 politicians are predicting that a deal is close. Tom Reed predicts that a deal will be reached in a matter of days, which sounds good, right? Reed says, obviously, we have to do something. Not doing a deal would be a disservice to the American people. That's his quote. So Tom Reed believes that we're actually pretty close on a deal and that something needs to be done, right? The caucus predicts that a deal will be reached for these three reasons. Number one being that the Senate is scheduled to go back on recess this Friday for 31 days. If the politicians cannot strike a deal by Friday, then they are risking having to stay in work longer, which eats into their precious vacation schedule, right? In all fairness, some politicians have offered to work past August 7th to get the job done. However, most politicians are against the modification of August recess schedule, which they have openly said. Reason number two is that schools need help reopening in August. And as we saw with our stimulus checks, right, even when the package is passed, it still takes weeks for the funding to get to the schools, right? We saw this with our last stimulus checks and how long it took for us to actually get those checks in, sometimes weeks, sometimes even months, right? So, reason number three, federal unemployment benefits as well as eviction protections ended yesterday to make millions of Americans homeless overnight, right? This is a huge deal. This is something that needs to be answered now, right? Including self-employed people. There are 30 million current Americans on unemployment. So this is affecting 30 million Americans right now. Based on a study, United States renters owe $21.5 billion in back rent. So that's a lot of money that is people are owed, right? Based on a study, 21% of renters did not pay July's rent. 21%. That's a lot, right? So this will cause a chain reaction because if renters cannot pay rent, then the landlords are at risk of foreclosure because then there's a chance that the landlords aren't going to be able to pay the mortgage, which, as you can see, it just kind of snowballs into this big thing that we don't want to see go down that path, right? You really have to take a minute and just realize how self-centered these politicians are. It seems like the only time they get anything done is when the deadline comes or when their vacation is at threat, right? They're so worried about their precious vacation that they are like, okay, fine, let's just get something done so that we can go on our recess time, right? Which is unfortunate. That's not how it should be. It's terrible that they're self-centered, thinking about themselves more than the 30 million people on just unemployment that are being affected by that ending already. So, in other news, this is where it gets not so great. This is what I wanted to go over as far as what I don't think is going the way that we want it to so far. Mitch McConnell said that out of 52 Republicans, that 15 to 20 of his senators are against any stimulus package at all. McConnell said, quote, "I think there are 15 to 20 of my guys that are not going to vote for anything," which is really not good. He also said that Democrats and Republicans are light years apart and are not close to a quick deal, right? This is coming from Mitch McConnell, so he's the leader of that party, of the Republican Party. So if he's saying they're light years apart and are not close to a quick deal, that's really bad. His reason for why they're against any stimulus deal is because they're concerned about the growing national debt. Again, they're not worried about the people that are being affected right now. McConnell said that he personally would like to see another stimulus package passed, however, that he is not willing to compromise on the liability protections. So not great. Like I was saying, it's not the best news today. We're having a little bit of back and forth, and McConnell saying that they're really not close on anything. In fact, his quote was they're light years apart. Scary stuff. So in COVID news, the cases are on the decline, but fatalities are on the rise, which is a little bit expected, right? Since the fatalities lag behind the new cases, this isn't anything that we haven't seen before. So, but keep in mind that just because the new cases are on the decline, it's just slightly, right? It's not gone. We're not saying that cases are going to now taper off completely. We have to still be careful that because this is not over by any stretch of the imagination. So that's it for our news today. Please subscribe if you have not already. I appreciate all of the support on the channel recently. You guys have been amazing. Leave a comment, like the video, all that good stuff. It helps me out a bunch. I appreciate you guys so much for watching. Have a good rest of your weekend.